Good morning, and a very warm welcome here to week 37 in my Stitch Circle Show Challenge. I'm the host for this challenge. My name is Lisbeth, and I'm Danish, so pardon my bumpy English. I'm a mixed media artist who likes to do all sorts of different things. This video here is about slow stitching or embroidery, or especially about dogma embroidery. And not to talk so much, because those of you who are doing this challenge know what I'm going to say, but if you're new here, welcome to you, and you can still participate in this challenge if you want to. But below here in the description box, or the little word more, you will find all the info you need. There is a link to the playlist where you can find week 1. There I would explain everything about what this Dogma Rule challenge is about. And there also is a link for a Facebook group, a private Facebook group. You can apply, but don't apply unless you want to do the challenge. The Facebook group is only for members who wants to do the challenges. You of course you can get all the inspiration you want here on my channel. You can find all the weeks there and look at them and do whatever you want to do if you want to do something. But there also is what was I going to say? Yeah, there are these two links below here in the description box, and yeah, and now I know what it was. There is also a link to how to sew a cover. Not all this sewing, but sewing the cover together if you want to make a book for your embroideries. And it isn't a must. You can do whatever you want to do with your embroideries. Put them in an old book, put them in a sketchbook, sew them on an old sheet, make a scroll, put them in a box. But I promise you, when this year is over, you will have so many small embroideries to be inspired by, and it is so nice once in a while to take, for instance, my book here and run through it and oh, there and this and this, and you can get so much inspiration. And perhaps after this try to mix some of the dogma rules we have been through here and do all sorts of things with this as inspiration. Yeah, but enough of me talking. Let us start here with week 37 and see what I have figured out for today. My book here is so fat, so I have 2 signatures, and I will remove the first signature, so I only have this here, and this is where I left you last time. And those of you who have been with me here for a while, you know that I like my spreads to look nice together, color-wise, and not so much stitching-wise. That doesn't matter to me. But color-wise, I like to have them to look nice together if you have spreads. So here I will tell you the Dogma Rules, but I will put that away. And of course I will write the Dogma Rules here under the little word more, or the description box, so you can read them quietly and not just hearing me blah 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 blah, do they? And for this week you need a piece of background fabric, and this I have chosen, and it's a quite flimsy one, so I have backed it up here with an old piece from a sheet, I think, and I will invisible paste it down so it is like one piece of fabric. And then you need 2 other small pieces of you need 1 or 2, that depends on if you want to make 1 or 2 circles. You can choose to make 1 and you can choose to make 2, but at least 2 smaller pieces of fabric you think look nice together. And I know I think this looks nice. I don't think this looks nice, but that was just for saying you need 2 if you want 2 circles. So away with that one. That is the fabric you need. And then you need some kind of tin plates, or 2 tin plates if you want to make 2 circles. And you have to make them 2 different sizes, because we are going to make turned edge applique circles on our substrate. Some call it needle turned applique, but since I'm not doing it with my needle, I'm showing you, for me it is an easier way to do it, where I don't turn the fabric with my needle. I do something else I will show you in a sec. But you need 2 of these, some cardstock or some watercolor paper, or whatever you have. Not so thick so you can't do like this, and not so thin as copy paper, that won't work. And I think it is nice if you punch a hole and you can say, why on earth that? But that I will really reveal later when we're doing it. So these are the materials we want to use. And for the stitching, I want you to sew only coherent triangle stitches, and I will also show them to you. I don't know if it's the proper name for them, and I haven't seen them in any books or been able to find out in what they can be called in English, and I haven't seen other people doing it like I'm doing it here. But if anybody knows of a more proper name, please tell me. But it is a quite simple stitch to sew, and I of course will show it to you. And for threads, use any kinds of threads you think would look nice on your substrate or on your applique circles. So let us start. I can quickly show you how you invisible base something down, and you come up with, I have taken here just the thinnest machine sewing thread I have. You come up in for your 2 pieces of fabric and go through 2 or 3 threads back and come up about a centimeter ahead, and then you got the tiniest, smallest stitch, and they are nearly not to be seen. And I have of course chosen a thread I think will nearly disappear color-wise into the colors on my fabric. So you come up and you go about a couple of threads back and come up a centimeter ahead of you. Go down and like this, and that is quite easy. And that is a nice way to attach 2 pieces of fabric together without seeing a lot of stitching. But I will do this all the way around and be back. So done with that, and you can see a lot of long stitches on the back and some very small one on the front. So now I have my base ready, and now for the applique circles. Here I have my template, and here I have my piece of fabric. And the way I do it, because I'm certainly not an expert in this turned applique, but I think it would look nice with some circles in other fabrics on my substrate here. So this has this size, so I will find one that is a little bigger here, because I want some seam allowance so to stitch on, and I want my fabric about a centimeter or so, or depending on how neat you are, but about that, so like this. And then I will take my pencil here and draw a line. And cut it out. And that doesn't matter if it's very neat, because this is going, the edge here you aren't going to see because we turn it over. So there I have my circle. So the way I do it, and I think it is the easiest way for me, instead of this turning the fabric with your needle, is I put the wrong side up and place my tin plate there, and then I just do a round of running stitches somewhere inside, here outside where you can see the fabric, not inside, as it don't go in there, you have to do it outside there. So I just, and don't make a knot on your thread at the end here, like this, and I will do that all the way around and be back. So I've been all the way around, and my one end is sitting there and the other end is sitting there, and I will just cut my thread off here. Then you put your tin plates here inside like this, and then the thread on your left side, you drag it to the right side, and the thread on your right side, you drag it to your left side, and keep this here inside like this. It can be a little tricky to make the knot here afterwards, because we only have 2 fingers, but let me see if I can do it. Yeah. Yeah, like that. I think that works fine. So here it is. You have a very nice circle. So now I will go ironing it, and I have already made another one in a blue one, and I don't know if I will put them upon each other like this, or I will only do one. I haven't decided yet, but somehow I think that looks very nice. But I will iron them and be back and show you how to sew them on. So I have been ironing both my pieces, and now I can take my thread out here. And you can see, this is why it is easy to have this little hole there. And it looks very nice, and you can remove this stitching if you want, but I think I would let mine be. So there this one is, and I can remove this long end here, and again it is just sweeping this out here, and you have your another piece. And I don't think for the life of me I could have made them so round if I was doing turned needle applique. I'm no master at this, and it is not something I have done. In fact, I haven't done this before, but many years ago I saw somebody do it, and it has been on my mind to try to do it. I don't think if I did it the proper way with needle turning, I was neat enough to do it, but this I can do. But if you're an expert at doing it with needle turning, of course you can do that. This is just an option I give you. So I will put this down here and try to center it best I can, like this. Here. And perhaps instead of putting a big needle in, I just think I would give it a dab of glue there to place it down. Yeah. Yeah, and before I did that, perhaps I should have to get your knot invisible. I go in here, there, and then my knot is in there, like this. And I've just taken an ordinary machine sewing thread, the thinnest one I have here in the house. And that is why, because I don't want to see much of my stitching. So I just go down in the fabric below, and then I come up here, and you take a tiny bite of the corner here. Not the corner, but of the edge. The smallest bit you can take. I think this is perhaps called whip stitching, but I'm not sure. Go in the fabric and you come up in the edge and you take a tiny bite. And I can see it's a quite fat needle I have here. I don't do much in finer needles, so but in this case it would have been nice to have a smaller needle. There. And again, go a little ahead of you and come up and take a tiny bite of the, oh no, not please, tiny bite of the fabric. There. Turn it, go down in the fabric below and take a small bite of your circle, like this. And you can not pull very hard, but you have to pull a little in your thread so it's not visible on your back fabric. Yeah. So that is the way I am doing it, and I will sew all the way around and be back. So now this is sewn down, and I can't complain about the circle isn't round, because it is very nice and round, but I don't think I mastered that very well, stitching this circle down. But I'm going to stitch around it now, so I don't think it bothers me so much. But if it was something I was going to do a lot of, I would practice a lot more. Yeah, but all beginning can be difficult. But now I want to show you how to do this triangle stitch, this coherent triangle stitch. So let me see here. There's no point on this needle, so I will just take another one. There's a point here on this, a big fat needle here. And where was I? Yeah, here. You come up and then you sew the two legs. If you take the leg for the left or for the right, it doesn't matter. There, and you go up. Oh, that is also a very chunky needle here. And then you take the bottom of the triangle, and that is the first triangle there. And now you start here in the left corner, and you go up, and then you would have the peak of this triangle. You have to go inside the bottom line there, there, and then you come out here for the another leg, and you go down in the same hole there, and come up here and make the bottom line of this little triangle there. It feels like I'm poking somebody, making noises. Come up, go inside the bottom of the previous triangle, come up here at the right, go down here again, like this. Yeah, that is a little wonky, but there. And it could remind me of a little tree or something, or when there's only three of them there. But I think it is, I really like to sew this stitch, and as I said earlier, if you have a proper name for it, let me know. I just call them coherent triangle stitch. There and there. But I think you got it now. What a sound there. Okay, away with this. Ouch, ouch, that was the wrong end of my needle here. And I have chosen this dark one here. I hope I can see it. Perhaps I can't see it so much here, but if I start in this end, I can always change the color of my thread. But I will come up here. I think I will cut this away. I don't know what it is, but it is annoying me there. And I don't think I can see this thread very much. Perhaps I should take this lighter one instead, but I will go for that, I think. That is something you can decide, because when you look here, you think, oh, you can see that, but in fact it is not very visible. And I could also have taken perhaps a thicker thread, but let me see here if I can get this to work instead. It takes no time just to start all over. Away with that. And then I have to make a knot. I just googled what it said, this kind of knot. In Danish we call them bussemandsknuder, and busseman is the small green things you have in your nose. And if I put the word busseman into translate Google, it just said the boss man. But I don't think that is the same. You can call it. It's the proper name. I think is the quilter's knot. But sometimes it's just quite funny what things are called in different countries. Yeah, this is more visible. There I have my first triangle. There. And then I just come up here. There. And go into the bottom stitch here of the previous triangle and go out and hit the circle edge. Yeah, and I can see I put this too far. It isn't easy stitching because my phone is right there. And normally when I stitch, I put my embroidery on my knee or my thigh. And there I have much more control over it. But it's the stitch you shall use here in this challenge here in week 39. And you can place them wherever you want on your fabric. That is up to you. So grab the one there, go under it and go near the edge of the circle, there, down in the same hole, and make the bottom stitch of this little triangle. There. And go down. There. And I think they look quite nice. Inside that leg, the bottom stitch. Yeah, this one will be a small one, I can see. And out here. There. And the bottom stitch in this little triangle. So let me go a little out again here. But I think you can see what I'm doing. Like this, and I will make them all the way around and see how that looks. So I nearly all the way around, and when you reach where you started, or nearly reach where you started, just eyeball it and say to yourself, how many stitches can I fit in here so they would look about the same size? And I think I can squeeze 3 stitches in here. So that is what I will go for. So just so and so, and suddenly when you come here, you have to make a very big stitch or very small stitch as the last stitch. And that is it's better to take an eyeball it and say, what can I fit in here? There into that bottom stitch there and the previous triangle there, there. And now we come to the tricky part. I go down here so I reach that point where the 2 first stitches are when I started. So I go up here, down here, yeah, that was a little wonky, and I don't like that much wonky. Think about there, that will do. And then I do the last stitch exactly as I've done all the others. And there, down, and the Only different thing I'm doing is I'm taking my eye of my needle and going into these two first stitches there, and then I go down here and whoopsie, no one can see where I began and where I ended now, and that I think looks very nice. I really like to sew this stitch here. It is so meditative to sew it, I think. So now is the big question is it, do I leave it like this, or do I sew anything in here, or do I put this one on here? And I think to get a little practice, I think I would have to iron this again. I will see if I can do this whip stitching a little differently than I did before. I don't think I succeeded very much. And I have the thin thread here. It's just a machine sewing thread. No, it isn't. That was the other stitch here. My machine sewing thread is here. I will thread it and I will just iron this one again, and then I will be back. Oh, it is ironed a little more, and I have drowned my knot here inside where I have turned the edges around, and I see if I can do it a little different. I am up here in where it is turned, and if I go down exactly the same place in the fabric underneath and come up here a little far, but that just catches the edge of the blue fabric, and go down exactly the same place and come up a little further apart in the blue fabric. Perhaps that works better, doing it like that. I'm certainly no expert in this, but I do know I like it to look nice. So I will go down nearly where I came up in the blue fabric, and go a little far further apart and come up. And go down the same place and come up a little further apart. Now I'm stitching for 1, 2, 3, 5 layers, so it's a little hard. Go down here in the same place and come up a little further apart in the edge of the blue fabric, and down the same place in the background fabric, and come up here. Yeah, I think this works better than the other way I did it. You can't see those long stitches here lying there. So I think this is the way to do it instead of the other way I did it. So I will continue here and sew this down and decide what the next step I will do. Yeah, I think this way of doing it was much better. So now I will make a round here with my blue color thread here in the turquoise part, and you don't need to see me do that because you already know how to do these small triangles on a string, or coherent triangles. So I will just continue all the way around and decide if I want to do anything here in the middle of this one. So done with this round of stitches, and I like that. And then I thought it needs something in the middle, and I sewed this little cross down. It reminds me of the Temple Knights, so I really don't like it, and the only way there is to do about that is to pick it up, and that is your artistic right. If you have done something you really don't like, remove it, and that is what I am doing, because I don't think it made anything good for my embroidery. I like it much more without. Perhaps you could do another thing, but I think I have been stitching enough on this piece here, so I will consider it done. I will take some close-ups at the end of the video. I have written the Dogma Rules here, and then I have put some double-sided tape on and ready to glue it down here. There. And doesn't that look nice, these two pages together? I'm satisfied. I'm not only just satisfied, I really like the look of these colors together. There are some loose threads, so away with them. So this was week 37 in this Stitch Circle Show challenge, and I hope you like this challenge for this week and will give it a try yourself. And I'm hoping to see a lot of nice embroideries in the Dogma Rule group or on Instagram. I have put some hashtags here under the little word more if you will tag me on Instagram if you're doing the challenge. This applique thing wasn't the easiest thing to stitch down. It was quite easy to make the circles the way I made them, but I think I figured it out here on the last little one I sewed down. These stitches aren't very nice here, but I have figured it out. But you learn as long as you live, and I haven't done this before, so I think it is quite fine. But I hope you have learned some tips and tricks for making round applique circles with turned edges. Easy way to do it, or learn some other things perhaps. And I hope you have been inspired and would try to do it yourself. But else I would just say, please give my video a thumbs up, and please consider subscribing my little Danish channel. That would be very helpful of you, and I would appreciate it a lot. And then I would only say, please take care and be creative and be nice to each other. Bye bye for now.